Hi everyone, I'm Simone Collins. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator from Australia, and I thought that today I would show you how I made this card. Alright, let's get started. Hi everyone, today I thought I would show you how I've made this card, and the colours that I've used are Fresh Freesia with Moody Mauve for the flowers, and then I've used Old Olive for the leaves, and the background is Lost Lagoon. Now, one of the things that I do when I make cards, which is maybe an unpopular thing, I'm not really sure, I don't know how you feel about it, but I actually cut my base card when I'm making a card like this. I actually cut it so that it is 14.5 centimetres, so that obviously this here will be the 10 and a half, as you can see there, and this one here will be 14 and a half. So I know it's not strictly speaking half of an A4 sheet, but I just find it so much easier when I'm doing my measuring, you know, for the extra layers that go on. And no one has ever wondered what's happened to that remaining 3.85 millimetres that are missing off the end of the card. So nobody has ever worried about that, I have to say. So make life easy for yourself, because hey, it's hard enough already. Just cut your cards to 14.5 centimetres. Alright, so that's that one. What I'll do is put it up there so I can remember exactly how I did it. So here we go, I've got my card ready to go and scored. I've got my backing sheet. So this one here you will see is actually 10 by 14. So that will fit nicely on here. So I've got those ones there. And then I've already cut this one here as well. So that will fit on there nicely. And that one there is 9.5 by 13.5. So if I get started, and I will take out my Artistic Mix decorative masks. There we go, pop that on. And take a blending brush with Lost Lagoon. So I love these lines, make it nice and easy to keep everything nice and straight. I don't know if you use a desk pad, but I just wouldn't be without it. Okay, and so then you can line these up as well. Now, and you can see on the one here that I've made, I haven't done it all the way over in the corner. In some ways I probably would have preferred to have done it even less, to be honest, but anyway, it just turns out how it turns out, and yeah, and I don't think anyone ever is concerned, so let's just have a go. So there's the Lost Lagoon ink pad. And then you just, using your blending brush, just put on as much or as little as you want in your brush on the card. I like to not go all the way to the edges. I just feel like that white background just gives it a nice effect. Yeah, and some bits being darker than others also, I think just really looks nice. So the only thing is you don't want to put that on and then change your mind, you know, take the stencil off and then change your mind, or the mask it's called. Anyway, I'm happy with that, so there we go. That's how we're going to have that one for this time. I'll put that aside and make sure I'll clean it before I do anything else, and the same with the blending brush. So that's that's how you use those masks. That's, yeah, one of the techniques. So that's the background there. So there we go, that's how that's going to look, so I'm pretty happy with that. Now, I love the mini Stampin' Emboss. I do have the big one as well, but the big one is set up on a different table. This one here I love for the smaller ones. I can just pop them through really quickly and easily. So yeah, I actually wouldn't be without the small one, and I almost didn't get it. So just doing the label for now. So I used the largest one of these here. This is from Tailor Made Tags Dies. And I'd already cut. It's just a bit of offcut that you can use. Pop that through. So there's lots of different bits to this card. Really, you can do them in whatever order suits you. So there we go. There's that one. That there, move my brush out, and I actually have an offcut of this from when I cut my backing as well, so this is a bit of a lost lagoon. And this one, I'm just using this one to get the dots. There we go. There we go. So I'm going to have more than enough of those. I really don't need that many all at once. There we go. And I'll just pop these ones here in a little container to use later. I might do a few more copies of this card because I'm quite happy with it. So that's that. I'll put those over there. I'll be needing that again in a moment. So where's my card? Here we go. So now I'm going to do these flowers. Now I'll start with this one, and I've used the set Love For You. You can see I've got some spares from when I was playing with them last night. So look, what I might do is I'll use a couple of those. That way you don't have to watch me do quite so many leaves. How many of those did I use? I just used a couple of those. There we go. I think I'm actually going to have to do an extra one of those. So for that one there, I actually used oops, sorry about that, old olive. You can see I've still got the old olive stamp pad. Still works a treat. So there we go. That's the one of those that I'm going to need. 1, 2, 3. No, I'm going to need another one. So there we go. And that's those. Clean off my stamp. If I don't clean my stamps off straight away, I usually wipe my arm on them or something and end up with ink on myself, and then of course I smudge that on the card. Sure, I'm not alone, I won't be the only one that does that. Now I used fresh freesia for the bulk of the flowers, so I've already got one spare, so I'll only need one more of these ones today, which is good because you really don't need to see me do the same thing over and over. There we go. So there's that one for the fresh freesia. And I just need to do some smaller ones. So I used 3 altogether and I've only got 1 there, so I'll just do another 2 of these. 1, 2. Go. Get that nice and clean. Now, I did do for these, look, I used Moody Mauve for the middles, the centre parts of my flowers, or actually not really the centre, just the middle part. Move that leaf off. Make sure you line it up. Sorry if my head's in the way there. Now when you first ink it, it looks really dark, but it dries much lighter, so don't be too worried about that. Now that's another thing, when I'm doing stamping, I put them down like that so they have their actual shape, and then I put that on. I find other one, not so much with these, but otherwise, especially if you've got long stamps or wordings or something, you could potentially put them on a bit crooked, and especially if you're using dies then to cut them out, they just don't actually fit properly. So there we go, got that lined up. Alright, clean that stamp. Now one more, I just need to do the For You. Actually, I'll take it back. Before I do the For You, I'll do the old olive centres of these flowers. I don't know about you, but I often get them just a little bit off centre, and you know what, I think that's just right. That's the joy of handmade, isn't it? Okay, now these little tiny ones, you see those ones I've stuck over there. When I've got the little tiny ones, I usually try to stick them straight back on where they're supposed to be straight away. I'll do those ones later when you're not watching. Yeah, just those little ones are just too easy to get stuck to things and lost. So that's that. Now, oh, that's right, now for you, so this is what I was talking about. You could potentially get them all crooked if you stuck them on all bent. So that's why I actually lay them flat so they have their correct shape and angles, and then I do that. And for this one, I once again used Moody Mauve. So there we go. That's those. So some people, knowing that we've got different dyes that we're using here, you could potentially run them through together, but I always end up, you know, something moves when I do that. So I just cut one shape at a time. It can be a bit monotonous, but yeah, I'd rather that than having to redo it because it's a bit crooked. So I also take my scissors. Now, I don't use my really good Stampin' Up snips for this kind of cutting. I save those so that they're nice and sharp when I need them for the finer, really special cutting. So for this here, I just use my cheapies. So I just cut them all out. Run them through my mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss. So here we go. So for this, you'll see you just use plate number 1 on the bottom, then a plate number 2, and then another plate number 2 on top. All the instructions are here, so it just makes it so easy. Now at the moment, I don't think they've sold out. At the moment, you can actually get a Stampin' Cut and Emboss in Boho Blue, which is just a bit special. Mine's just the plain old garden variety one. One of those. Oops. So was that it for those ones? Yep. Okay, I'll pop that back. Same for the dies. I find sometimes they get stuck to the back of my phone because there's a magnet on it, or you know, they just get stuck to things. I've managed to not actually lose them, but oh my goodness, it would be easy to. Now, okay. There we go. Now just a couple of little leaves. Got enough of the big ones. Now you'll see on that stamp set there actually is some extra stamps that you can use. Well, now what if I put them over here? So you can see that these ones here you can use a different colour, or you could if you wanted just do an extra layer of old olive over the top, and it would just give it that little bit of extra. But for this card I just decided not to. I just felt like there was enough going on already. Sometimes I feel like less is more. If there's too much going on a card, I just don't really know where to look myself, and I just like to make it a bit more simple. that's there, and like it asked for you. There we go. Okay, so that's that for that machine. So now if we have a look at what we've got going on here, now I also, what did I just do with that? I also need, this is the jute trim, so I used the Moody Mauve jute trim for this one. I'll just stick the, and to be honest, that's probably almost too much. I'll try not to have glue oozing out from underneath them. Now I also I find these little tweezery things that I just got, and I can't remember if they came from a craft store or Red Dot or where they came from, but they're very, very handy. Okay, so that's that. I'll just cut my piece of trim. Once again, I just use my cheap scissors for things like this, because you can see how much these ones struggled with it. There we go. Just sometimes I'm all thumbs. Okay, there we go. So that's that. Just leave that on there like that. And for you, now I just use my mini dimensionals. Don't use too many. Doesn't really need too many. You can cut them down a little bit more. I could cut one in half to put on there, say, but look, I didn't do it for that one, and to be honest, it's fine. Okay. I don't know about you, but these little hexagon backing pieces get stuck everywhere in my house, in my car. They're stuck to my clothes. Kids complain about them. Okay. There we go. I'm just put them, yep, just wherever I feel like. It's easier if you don't try and line things up perfectly, then you've got to keep them lined up. So now I will just have a bit of a rough go at where I'm going to pop the, so for that one there, I just put it there. Just put a little bit of glue on there. Stick that on. There we go. I still managed to ooze glue. So I just take some scrap card like so and just wipe that off. There we go. Oh. There we go. That's that one. Okay, that's those two top ones done. my. Do you know what? I think I'm going to be short one leaf after all of that. That was not very good counting, was it? Pretty typical for me, I have to say. Okay, there's that one. It just won't look quite right without it, so I'm going to have to whiz one more through really quickly. It's not missing, I just didn't count properly. Okay. There we go. And super quickly, where is my scrap paper? There it is. I don't know about you, but I'm constantly losing things that I had just a second ago. Put that on quickly. Don't mind my phone buzzing away there. There we go. That is not a terribly big deal, is it, to just have to pop that back through again to get the right number of leaves? Silly me. Next time I'll take more care and count better. Now, who was to go on here? And the glue's gummed up as well. Oh dear, it really did. Okay. Okay, and put that one in there. Okay. That's it for the glue for now. Now for, just make sure I pick the right ones. I think it was this one here. Yep. Right, I take it back, that was for the background of the card. I'm not doing a very good job here at all, am I? Here we go. So I made it that one there, and then it was one like that. Right. So this one here, I actually just put being flat. Oh, that's probably a bit too much glue. I'm not quite sure it'll be a bit too much glue. Okay, so I pop that one like that, like so. This one here I actually popped up on dimensionals. Actually, I think what I did was just used one of these ones, one of the main big dimensionals. There we go, that's enough. Right. Yeah, put that one on there. Okay. Using some tape here. Now some people use glue for that, some people use tape. To be honest, I kind of chop and change a little bit. I think I've just always sort of used tape. That just seems to be my go-to. But I do see lots of people use glue, and of course the advantage with the glue is that you've got a little bit more time. If you put it on a little bit crooked, you can usually give it a little bit of a jiggle and make it just in the right place. Tape is not quite so forgiving, but my brain just tends to go for tape because that's what it's used to. So I usually, if I've cut it right and I can get 3 sides looking right, next one's pretty good as well. There we go. Now this also, how much, oh what I did do 4 small ones for this. 1, 2, 3 and 4. So I find that instead of putting, even though you know these other ones are going to be the backgrounds, instead of putting those on first, I often find if I put this one on first, it's not a big deal to tuck those ones in behind, because this is kind of the main event. The others are just the extras. Just make it, yep, there we go, that'll just be close enough. Okay, and then I did use glue for these ones, which to be honest I really used to use double-sided tape for almost everything. It's pretty rare for me to, well it used to be pretty rare for me to use glue, but I just seem to have changed. I wonder if you do the same thing, if you sort of have something that's sort of your go-to comfort zone and then for some reason you kind of change it and you wonder why you were doing it that way in the first place. Okay. There we go, that one's good enough. And because nobody has ever received a card and said, I wish you put the flower, oops, I wish you put the flower in a different place. I don't even know how that happened then. I just managed to flick that flower off. Okay. And pop this one under. I'd actually quite like it to go under there. There we go. Yeah. So that's that. Actually, that one there obviously doesn't have enough glue. I think because I moved it over a bit when I flicked it off accidentally. There we go. There. So it is actually a little bit different. That. Now, just to prove myself wrong, I'll use glue for this one and pop it over here. Just before I put the glue on, I'll just make sure that's going to be pretty, yep, pretty good. And there we go, and that did need a little bit of tweaking, so just as well I used glue instead of the tape that time. So there we go, that is how I made that card. And then I always put it with a nice envelope. I know lots of people do use the cheaper envelopes, but I really feel like a cheaper envelope devalues the card, so I always use a good quality envelope. It just finishes off nicely. And I often put another stamp, you know, on the back here or maybe down here, something that just goes with it. Just haven't done that one today, but it's very easy to do. So there we go, that's how I made this card. Alright, thanks everyone for watching, yeah, I'll be back again another time to make another card with you. Thanks, bye.